Hey everybody, Paulie here with Hard Drive Radio, hanging out backstage with America's grumpy uncle, Corey Taylor.
It's about time I got something that's a national nickname. I've been waiting this whole time. I don't know. I don't know if it's good, though.
It's absolutely good.
Okay, good.
The new book is America 51, and it has a very lengthy subtitle, A Probe into the Realities That Are Hiding Inside the Greatest Country in the World. Man, I feel like this is the perfect time for this book to come out. So tell us, what seized you that you have to write this book now?
I mean, it really kind of came out of necessity, to be honest. I mean, it started out, it wasn't going to be political at all. It was supposed to be, I don't want to say a love letter to America, but it was certainly something that was like me kind of blowing kisses to all the different cool, regionally centric places all over America, of which there are several. In my travels and my touring, I've got a chance to really meet some great people, see some really cool things. Unfortunately, as the last year and a half has unfolded, it's gotten very weird. So, and then, it just changed. It became something, it became more of a necessity to write a book that was trying to speak to everyone about certain things, and less about screaming on either side, because that seems to be all that anybody does anymore. And everyone in the middle, like myself, kind of gets stuck going, well, do we subscribe to this? Do we subscribe to that? And this is essentially me saying, no, screw that. There's a third option here, and it's us. And I think that's one of the things that scares the hell out of these certain politicians and these people who just spew rhetoric like it's nothing, is that there are more of us than there are of them. So it's me trying to get everyone to kind of turn around and face each other in the middle and talk, instead of going to the outsides where the extremes are and screaming over the top of everybody. It's not going to get anything fixed. It's not going to get anything accomplished. It's not going to get anything done.
We're kind of spoon-fed this false dichotomy of right versus left, and you delve into it a lot in the book, and you bring up a very good point, and you just said it before, that a majority of America, we live in the center.
Yeah, I would say 98% of people in this country are like myself in the center. I consider myself fiscally conservative, and yet culturally liberal, and I always have. And there's nothing wrong with that, And I think people on a one-on-one basis, when you break it down, when you talk to them one-on-one, you get them away from the screaming and the groups and all that crap. People tend to agree with you, and they empathize. That's the problem, is no one empathizes anymore. No one can see themselves in each other anymore because no one's allowing them to, or they're not paying attention to it.
President Trump kind of figures in very largely in this book by necessity.
Yeah.
I mean, is this just kind of like, the rantings of like a middle-aged liberal guy coming to grips with what we've done as a country?
No, this is because, trust me, I don't consider myself a liberal. I mean, and the book paints that very obviously. I mean, I have issues with both sides of the stupid coin that we've been left with. I think liberals are idiots. I think conservatives are idiots. I mean, just for the fact that they refuse to see anything outside of that party line, And I think it's because for years, families have been trained to vote a certain way, to no matter what, vote Democrat, vote Republican, no matter what, no matter whether or not it goes against what they're feeling or what they think or the needs of their family, for God's sakes. They're taught and they're raised to vote a certain way, and then they bitch about what's going on, And it's like, well, if you voted with your heart and voted with your mind, you would see a completely different shift happening. And I think that's the problem. So people can look at me as a liberal all day, but I have problems with everybody. I certainly have problems with a dude who can't even keep his businesses straight, thinking he's going to run the country. Sure, yeah, good for you. How's that working out for you, by the way?
A phrase that you use often in this book is that he's the president, but he's not your president.
It's not mine, no.
What would you say to the people who would say we have to give him a chance?
I would say, I'd say he's had a chance for the last 200 days now. Are we in day 200 of of the Trump presidency. It's ridiculous. Never mind the fact that Republicans hold the House and hold Congress and Senate. Excuse me, hold House, hold Senate. They now have the deciding factor in the Supreme Court, and they have the presidency, and they still can't get anything done. So, how much of a chance do you really think he needs anyway? Never mind the fact that everything that comes out of his mouth feels like a poison pill. Encouraging police brutality, encouraging a travel ban, encouraging some sort of wall that no one in their right mind is going to pay for. And yet, is everybody sick of winning yet? Are you tired of winning? I'm sorry. It's not. Look, I am, and this is me trying not to be a dick, okay? I empathize. I understand. You want someone who you can see yourself in, but he is so full of shit. He's going to paint himself to look exactly like he wants you to see him. There is none of him in you and vice versa, and he is leading you down a path to make you feel like an idiot. And I'm sorry, and I'm trying to get people to come together and start talking to each other instead of looking to firebrands for answers that are never going to be there.
Empathy is a real important part of this book, and you touch on it several times. And one of the things that I enjoyed the most was when you started talking about your travels and how other countries view American tourists in that we're kind of dicks.
Yeah, no, we are dicks. There's no kind of about it. Like, just the sense of self-importance that comes off of us in waves. It's kind of hard to deal with. It makes me avoid American tourists as well, you know? Like, I tend to stick to myself anyway, but when I see a family or a group of businessmen, oh, they're the worst. They wander in like they own the place, and they leave like they just shit on it. Like, it's not, there's nothing fun, and everyone has to deal with not only their entrance and their subsequent terrorizing of everything, but then when they walk out, now, because you're American, you have to deal with the consequences of their actions, man. And it's embarrassing, you know? There's no reason for us to do that, you know? Like, it's like we leave the confines of our country and forget morals, forget manners, we forget how to be good to each other. We forget the fact that, oh, we happen to be in another country. Maybe they don't speak English. Sorry. Not everywhere's Canada, okay? Sorry.
Although you do point out that saying you're from Canada is a good practice.
Well, that was a joke. You'd be surprised how many people have already given me shit about it.
I've done it.
Right? Everybody's like, oh, you got to claim you're Canada. What? You say you love America, but you claim to be Canadian. It's like, it's a fucking joke, you moron. Shut up. God, when did we lose our fucking sense of humor in this country? And that's a problem. That's one of the problems. It's because we have too many inflexible egos that cannot handle the bend. Because if you can't poke fun at yourself, how the fuck are you going to be able to fucking look at things with a softer gaze, a softer vision? It's just not going to fucking happen.
You also go to task with a couple of the other more delicate people, especially on the internet, snowflakes and social justice warriors, and again, all in, not being able to take a joke. And yeah, there's a line, well, like, what's appropriate and what's not, but it does seem like a lot of people do not have a sense of humor these days.
It's painful. It is painful. The amount of crap that everyone finds offensive. Look, I get it. That's fine. I'm not trying to shit on anyone's feelings. I'm not trying to make anyone feel like they're not supposed to feel something. And I'm certainly not trying to make them feel like what they feel is wrong. However, lumping yourself in with the hell that black people have gone through, people from people, immigrants have gone through, gay people have gone through, people of all colors, creeds, everything. Putting yourself in that because you were offended by a t-shirt that makes fun of OCD, you don't get to do that. Because not only are you trying to trump up some shit that you go through for no good reason, but you're also marginalizing what those people have had to go through. And they've fought their whole goddamn lives for that sort of justice. It's not right. and largely white people trumping up their bullshit, and no pun intended, but there it is, to feel like they're all they're all victims. I thought this was America. I thought we were winning. Why are there so many victims in this country? It's ridiculous. And hey, you want to fuck with me? Go ahead, man. I'm just as fucking ready to talk about this as you are. But don't come at me with that bullshit, because it's not right. And it's certainly not right to the people who have spent decades trying to fight against that stuff.
You make a couple jokes in this book several times about people being offended by what you write and maybe like tossing the book away or setting it on fire or something. Are you genuinely worried that maybe some more, outlying fans on the right or the left might just be like, I'm done with Corey Taylor and stop coming to shows?
No.
Not even
No. Why the hell? The minute that I start worrying about that is the second that I don't deserve my career. Because it's not about expression anymore. It's about money, and I can make money at Burger King, and trust me, I have. Well, not Burger King, but Hardee's. 9 wonderful months at Hardee's, making some biscuits and gravy. And I would still be okay with that, because it's still me being myself. This is me being myself. If you're offended by that, sorry, but it's not going to change. You not coming to my shows is not going to change how I think. So why would I do that? I know too many bands that actually do that. They worry about stuff like that. So they come off as like this homogenized, pasteurized version of themselves. And it's like, well, that's weak sauce. At least be yourself. I would rather make less money and be me than make more money and be somebody I'm not.
As you said before, this book is kind of started as a love letter to America, and then it had to go.
It still is.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it really still is.
What would you say is your favorite thing about this country?
Is my favorite thing is one of the things that people bitch about, is the fact that I have the right to say what I want. People talk about Colin Kaepernick all the time. He's not American. He's not American. Are you seriously? Because to me, he's doing exactly what America was founded upon. This country was founded by people who rebelled. They set our laws and rights up to be for us to live in this time right now, to be able to rebel against that. So you can not like what he does. You can not like it at all. But let me tell you something. Don't disrespect it, because it is his right as an American to be able to do that. Unless you've walked a mile in his shoes, unless you've walked a mile in his people's shoes, you shut your mouth. Just saying.
When are you running for president?
Never. No. Everyone relax. Never. This will be the last time I talk about politics, for God's sake. This book exhausted me. Like, it was hard. It was hard for me to write, man. But the great thing is, and I'm just now starting to find this, more people actually agree with a lot of the stuff that I've said, especially about being in the middle, More people agree with that than not, There's 2 or 3 people on the outside who have had taken some real umbrance with the shit that I've said, and that's fine. I was expecting that, but I wasn't expecting so many people to come out and be like, it's like you read my mind. And that to me really solidifies what I said in the book, is that most of us are in the middle. So I guess it's, sometimes you got to wince and put it out there, and thankfully it's gratifying.
I was actually really impressed with your knowledge of politics. I mean, it's such a messy field, and the fact that you even written in the book, you read the paper every morning, you're really in touch with this stuff, and I think that might surprise some people.
Well, it's our right as Americans. The great thing about America is that one of the things that this country was founded on was the fact that we are included in the process. It is your right to know what our laws are. It's your right to know what our laws are. It's your right to know what our politicians are up to. That's what true transparency is. People like to throw that word around, and they don't understand that it starts with our access to what the government can and can't do to you and yours. And so me, as an American, I exercise that right all the time to be not only knowledgeable, but if things they don't feel right, that I vote with my conscience, I vote with my mind. I also contact my representatives, I contact my senators, I contact people in Congress that I have access to, and I try to make a difference. And that's every American right. And I encourage you to be a part of it. Now, it is exhausting. It really is. And sometimes it's hard to get through because there is a lot of dogmatic law that kind of is wrapped around it. And that's one of the things that I talk about in the book, is us trying to strip away all of that and really encourage the people who we vote into office to keep stripping that away, because they're too quick to vote with people instead of voting for themselves. I think the more they try to load it down with too much rhetoric, the less people are interested or understand. And that's not right. So it's up to us to really try to make differences like that and encourage them to not only work with us to create these laws, but to keep us informed.
Well, we have a few minutes left, and I'd like to turn to music real quick and ask a couple questions. How do you feel about the response to the new Stone Sour album?
It's been fantastic, man. Like, we were really blown away by the response, by the outpouring, and it just seems like it's just getting bigger and bigger too. So it's like, to me, it's like the best of both worlds. We got to enjoy the process, and we put out an album that we were so stoked about, and now everyone and their mom is like so into it. Like, and we've got like this whole new generation of new fans that I was not expecting. I was like, okay. And we got to see that kind of groundswell on the Korn tour, and watching like just every show get bigger and bigger and bigger, and to the point where like one of the last shows we did was in Michigan, and man, it was so off the hook. It was so righteous. And we walked off stage going, what is happening? It's awesome, man. It's so good. It's the whole reason that you get into this in the first place, is to feel that,
I was able to catch you guys at the Rock on the Range pre-show in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh yeah, man, yeah.
That was great. And then seeing you guys come back through New Jersey with Korn, it's like you could just see how much fun you guys are having up there.
Yeah, I mean, every night, man. Like, every night, even if you're playing the same set over and over and over, we just love jamming together. We love playing together. We love getting together and messing with each other on stage, dude. Like, the other night I ran over to Chow and I bloused out his beard, just to make sure it was completely spread. He was playing, so he couldn't stop me. So he's just looking at me, oh, God damn it. It was so awesome, dude. And I really, really love playing with these guys.
Clown and Jim are working on new Slipknot music.
Yeah.
How soon before they drag you into the studio to get to work?
I don't know. They'll call me. As apparently as Clown let me know through the press, things are going on without Corey Taylor. So thanks for that, Clown. Heard you loud and clear. You have my number. I don't know what the hell the problem is. Hey man, it's all good. I know he's he's really into being a part of the writing process and whatnot. Always has been. And him and Jim have always written really well together. So the cool thing about that is that once it's time, I'll know, and I'll hear some stuff, and it's great being able to hear stuff for the first time, and really, hearing some stuff that I know I've never heard before, So I'm excited. We'll see what happens.
All right, the book is America 51, and I still haven't memorized the damn title. A probe into the realities that are hiding inside the greatest country in the world.
Quote,
the author
unquote,
is
trademark pending.
Yes, the author is the mighty Corey Taylor. Man, thank you so much for doing this.
All good, man. No worries.
Pleasure.
HardDrive Online is brought to you in part by Napa Auto Parts. Stop by your local Napa Auto Parts store and conquer the job and Napa know-how.